everybody, and welcome to episode number 2 of Awaiting Orders. My name's Chandler. I can't speak. Jaden might be able to speak. Can you speak, Jaden?
It's possible. There are rumors.
Did you know that with recordings you can try again and post the correct one? But I'm going to refuse to do that right now. So, I'm feeling bold, feeling exciting. We're here again for episode number 2. Normally I would like to talk a little bit about any news that's going on, but there's not really at the moment. We're in kind of an interesting spot right now where all the really exciting stuff sort of happened around the beta, and now they're all probably, Archon is probably just doing, really boring paperwork stuff, trying to get everything out the door.
Yeah, I mean, we know a couple of interesting. Well, okay, there's not necessarily Archon related news, but there's some community news for sure. The Tabletop Simulator Discord is almost at 1,000 members.
Yeah, I actually just got invited to that like literally half an hour ago.
Yeah, I've been part of it for a while. So yeah, that's very cool. I'm excited to see that community grow. The other thing is that we're hearing not necessarily confirmed at all, but possible rumors that the insane pre-order thing that they set themselves as the maximum number, which was about 70,000 units of everything, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
They're thinking they might actually hit that number at some point before the pre-orders.
Yeah, they're projecting that they may hit it at the very tail end of the pre-orders and might have to cancel them slightly early, which is something they said was absolutely not going to happen, but suffering from success and all that. I
know, right? What was it that they said that's like a third of GW's?
It's a third of GW's 11th edition launch product. Essentially, is kind of which I know one of those things of being we aspire to a third of, but GW is literally that massive that's an insane goal.
Isn't GW 3% of Great Britain's gross domestic
something product? It's ridiculous. It's
that means that they've done 1% of that week or two of Britain's great domestic product.
If they hit that, that'd be pretty crazy. I mean, they got to be feeling awesome right now. At that studio, I bet the vibe there is stressful but hyped. Oh,
I would imagine.
Yeah. Aside from that, I mean, Adepticon's coming up. You know what weekend that is exactly?
That is March 25th through 26th, 7th, 8th, 9th.
Okay.
Yes.
So pretty quick after this cast goes up.
It will be the week this cast goes up. Yes.
I personally doubt we'll see much new that isn't at least stuff we already know come out of Adepticon regarding StarCraft, but I know they're going to be there with models at least, and probably some demo sets and what.
I wish I was going. I'd like to pick up some stuff.
That's okay. Well, I mean, we'll get there. We'll live. Plus, you have those nice laser cut proxy models. That's all you need, right?
But they're not real models.
These aren't real. This is fake.
They're not real.
All right. Well, unfortunately, as anybody who watched episode 1 may have noticed, we're missing Ben today for very good reasons. He's got a lot going on. He's got twins that just got to his house, so he's having a night, I'm sure. I'm sure he's frazzled beyond reason at the moment. So hopefully if everybody could just get some good sleep, Ben, I'm sure he would appreciate that. Because it's not going to happen regardless of what we say. So
no, we can wish it for him really hard.
Yeah. So we took the excuse to talk about a faction he hasn't played yet. We're we don't need Ben for this. Today we're going to talk about Protoss, my beloved boys.
Yes, the best faction. Unequivocally, I will take no arguments. This is the best one.
It's so hard for me that I'm existing in a world where they're not my favorite faction right now. It's actually very strange. That literally, Protoss being my favorite faction has been an aspect of my identity for over 20 years. And I'm I'm kind of feeling Zerg right now.
I'm here to be past the torch, as it were.
Yeah.
I'm in love.
That said, I mean, Protoss were the first faction I tried, and I do really like them. They're definitely one that I'm in the mood to play right now because I played a lot of Zerg games in a row. So the big thing about Protoss, and this is how they've existed in the PC games and all the way up to now, is that Protoss are a very elite faction. They kind of exist as the very elite individual units tend to be very powerful, in the case of a miniatures game, very low model count. In the case of a game like the PC games, very expensive. So you can get them out a little bit slower. And they're also immensely high tech. Traditionally, they've been a very spellcaster heavy faction that doesn't really exist quite yet. There's a little bit of it. But the other big thing that is a very big defining aspect of Protoss as a faction is the ability to teleport from location to location. This has been, especially going into StarCraft 2, this was a huge part of their identity, and they've really kind of followed through with that going into this game as well, which is pretty awesome. They've done a pretty good job, I think, translating what Protoss is doing. Ben insisted that I say they're like Custodes mixed with Circle Orboros for the handful of people that any of that means anything to.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's for people that only play 40k, it's like Custodes mixed with Eldar mixed with a little bit of Tau.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
really that's probably pretty accurate. A lot of the Protoss big guns kind of don't exist right now, so we have a lot of these foundational core units, which is kind of what you expect to see. But it's actually really funny to me that, like, right now the Stalker and the Goliath are technically kind of the same weight class, because I'm like, this Stalker is like a gateway unit. it's what you get to have ranged weapons after you get Zealots.
Yeah, but I mean, that's about right. No, it's interesting. Like, we'll talk about this more when we get to unit overviews, but Protoss is by far the most limited faction in terms of choices right now.
Yeah.
And they had also the lowest win rate in the beta. I don't think that means they're worse than the other factions, though, if I'm being completely honest. I think they're really tricky to play, but I also think that they're a nightmare once you figure them out.
They're a nightmare once you figure them out. I do think right now they have a couple blind spots, just kind of innate at the moment. We ran into this playing around with them where they're very specifically, they don't have a light unit that is good against armored.
Right.
Which creates a situation where Marauders are the apocalypse for this faction right now. They're like really annoying to deal with.
A little bit, yeah. Like I've played into them, and you can make it work. Like Artanis plus Stalkers is enough if you've positioned well.
Yeah,
but it's hard.
Yeah, so they're kind of missing certain things. Like anything they have that counters Marauders any kind of well also gets countered by Marauders pretty well, except for like Artanis. Who, just by nature of not having any keywords. So like they have a couple blind spots right now for sure. But they have a lot of really cool play. They've got a lot of stuff they can do. They to me feel like probably the faction that is most like, it's most obvious that they are somewhat having to kind of balance and design around the fact that game's going to have 3 times the number of units available in a year, Yeah. Not quite that much, but like a lot of stuff's going to be added to all the factions, and
for Protoss, it actually is going to be that much. Protoss,
probably that is true. Ranks. Yeah, they don't have a lot of units. Yeah, that is absolutely true. So speaking of which, let's jump in and talk a little bit about some of the units that they. We get to start off really strong here with the first unit on there, which is the Adept.
Ooh.
So the Adept is probably the best unit sheet
in the game. Yes,
possibly in the game. Yeah, I think arguably in the game, almost certainly the best one in Protoss.
Yes, it's also my favorite thing to play in a miniatures game that I have ever touched in my entire life. Like, not exaggerating. The first time I activated this unit on Tabletop Simulator, I was like, I guess I'm buying into this game so that I can do this more.
So I can play with this more. Yeah.
Yep.
No, definitely. So what are Adepts bringing to the table? So this is a unit, I'll go over their stats a little bit, but they've got 2 shields, which is not high.
Let's just talk about that real fast.
Yeah.
Because this is something that people are getting confused by. I'm seeing this on like Reddit quite a lot. Shields in StarCraft miniatures game is essentially an extra 2 health that don't apply to any particular model. So when the unit takes damage, the damage gets applied to the shields until the shields are gone, and then you start applying damage to the damage pool for models like you normally would. They're not like 2 per model, which is good, because that would be
so much health.
Insane. And they're not, and I saw some crazy, like, if they don't take as much damage as the shields are, then the shields don't go away, take somewhere. And no, that's not how that works either. It's literally just, here's 2 extra health on the unit. It doesn't go on a particular guy.
You kind of have an extra 2 ablative wounds you just have to get through before damage starts actually going into any member of the unit. Not that that's quite how it works, but it's a little cushion on top of the whole unit. I'm really hoping that more, and this is the thing, that every Protoss unit has shields. Right now, there's not really any ways to interact with it in any interesting ways. I suspect we'll get stuff eventually. The shield battery is a very long-standing thing that Protoss has access to that's a building. that regenerates shields. I cannot imagine we don't see that as a tactic card at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
It actually surprises me right now that there is no way to regenerate shields, because shields normally regenerate out of combat very slowly, but but typically that's a thing. But as it is, shields are just a couple of ablative wounds you kind of have before you start dying. One of the really awesome things about Adepts is their 5/8 move.
It's so good.
It's so good. It makes you fast. It's 5 as a base move speed is very fast. Zergling don't move that fast. They kind of do because of the
tactic card also.
Yeah, and yeah, placements. They end up just really getting a lot of movement, and we'll get more into that in a second because they get even more than that. They have a 5-up evade, 5-up armor. This to me is kind of the normal. If that makes sense.
5-up is normal.
5-up is kind of the it's truly the 3-up save of this game, kind of. It's just, it's like you have a perfectly reasonable stat. You know, it's not special, nothing unique here. It's just, it's fine. It's what Marines have. It's fine. 3 hit points each, little tougher than a Marine. You really shouldn't see any flesh and blood Protoss should not have the same health as a Marine, so I'm glad that even the Adepts have a little bit of extra each. You cap that on top of their shields as well. They're reasonably tough on a 4-model unit. Not great. They do die pretty quick, and I will say that this unit does feel a lot weaker the smaller they get. Just from but I mean, that's true of a lot of units, but just the output, definitely, you notice it. They're size 2, which is pretty standard, and they come in a unit of 4 models for 150. They give you, and they're 1 supply, which is really, really nice for Protoss. When your kind of main quote unquote core unit is 2 supply, being 1 means you have a lot more room to flex there.
We can talk about that in a second, because I'm going to contradict a lot of people and that I like Zealots at 2, but we can come back to that.
I do too. They've got this wonderful ability that is going to combine with another one, but it's called Psionic Presence, where if friendly units targeting an enemy unit within 4 inches of a shade token, they receive precision 1. This is a good rule. I have 2 kind of main problems with it. One is just that usually you kind of want the shade in more utility locations rather than like for aggressiveness, but it is an option you have available. The other thing is that Protoss are just drowning in the word precision.
That is only true in melee.
That is true. You don't get as much at range for sure, but sometimes it feels like you're getting a lot of instances. The big thing that makes Adepts what they are, though, is Psionic Transfer. This is a 1 Psionic Energy ability. You get to place a token within 12 of any Adept model. At the end of the round, you can just move the unit into coherency range of that token.
Very importantly, it does not say out of combat. It does not say you can't be in combat. It doesn't have any restrictions at all. You just get to go.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah, to me, even if you don't have a particular plan for it, just throwing out the bit of energy for the shade, just to have it available to you, and you don't have to use it. At the end of the turn, you can go, you know what? I'm not going to jump there. To me, it's still worth it. Just giving yourself the option like almost every time. It's just a really, really strong effect. You can use it to go incredibly fast. You can use it to move one direction, but then end the turn in a totally different direction. You can use this thing to do all kinds of crazy stuff. And the fact that it's at the end of the round means that it's safe, because movement happens prior to all damage forms, basically. It means at the end of the round, you're going to be able to move there, and you will have an opportunity to move before anything ever gets to attack you. So you can do this extremely safely. It's a way to jump onto threatened objectives in a safe manner. You can do all kinds of stuff like throwing a shade onto an objective an enemy controls to threaten taking control of it. And then if they commit supply to it, you can just go, okay, I just won't go there. Tons and tons of options for this. I mean, it's just, and the second you decide that you're psionic transferring, it's the number of options available to you are like almost in.
Yeah, we'll come back to this particular ability because I think we're going to spend a lot of time talking about it, so we should get through the rest of their stats.
Yeah, definitely. They've got the Glaive Cannon. One of the weaknesses of this unit is that their range is not high. Range 8, I definitely feel it sometimes. You're like, I'm struggling to get in there. You end up really leaning on the which building is it that gives you the +4 range?
I don't remember.
Hold on. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But it's not the Twilight Council, is it?
It might be the Twilight Council. It is the Twilight Council.
It is the Twilight Council. Okay. So this unit really tends to eat my Twilight Council a lot. Because bumping up to range 12.
Bonus 4 range.
Yeah, which gives them a bonus 4 range. So they getting that extra range is really huge. They can target anything, which will be amazing when flyers exist. So being able to target all is awesome. The rate of fire is 2, which is not high, but we'll get to that. The hit on 3s, they have a light surge of D3 plus 1, which is very good.
That's nice. Yeah.
And then it has built-in anti-evade 1.
Which is also very nice.
Which is also very, very nice. When you get when you get a unit of Zerglings or whatever jumping in your face, that's actually a really, really strong thing to anti-evade.
You Marines with shields.
Yeah, the real anti-Zergling tech is not surges; it's anti-evade. Yeah. And then they've got kind of a pretty bad melee attack. That's just like 1 attack, hits on 4s, does 1 damage. Has no other. They have a number of upgrades available to them, just like everything else. For 20 points, you can take Resonating Glaives. Unfortunately, this costs an energy, which is it can make this unit really expensive. From a psionic energy standpoint, but it increases the rate of fire by 1, so you get bumped up to 3. And it's like the problem is it's very worth it.
It's very worth it.
It's very worth it, but it feels so expensive.
Is so starved.
And Protoss is
often just will not.
Yes, yeah. I find that this faction struggles to have enough psionic energy. We do not have the Academy.
I played with that this week. That
isn't it nuts?
It's crazy. Yep. Holy cow.
They've also got guidance. So this is a 10-point upgrade that just makes their ranged weapon anti-evade 2. That's if you want to just truly wreck stuff like Zergling trying to get into melee. You will just absolutely wreck. I mean, and it's good against, I keep saying Zergling, but it's good against plenty of things. I mean, anti-evade 2, that's like, Artanis doing his special ability to soak shots really doesn't like that. Kerrigan trying to get her evade against 1 unit, she really doesn't like that. A lot of really strong places where you can apply evade. That this, I think, as somebody playing a lot of Zerg, especially, I feel like I lean on evade a lot into guns, and anti-evade hurts my soul. And then if you want to make them a little bit better in melee, you can do the 20-point Glaive Strike upgrade. It's still only rate of fire 1. This is kind of the main problem with it. It hits on 4s, has a light surge for D3. It does 1 damage, but it has Pierce Light 2, so it does 2 damage against the lights. That makes it kind of reasonably chunky, but the 4 up to hit on 4 models with 1 attack, it's really fiddly.
So I'm gonna argue that this is often worth it because, again, as we've mentioned, and we'll come to as we get to the Tactics Guard, this faction is drowning in Precision 2 Tactics Guards. So if you attack 4 times with this, you're going to hit twice-ish, and the Precision 2, you've hit 4. If you surge and get 3, you're just doing 6 damage. It's like 3 Marines dead, plus then, potentially another one. It's like, ugh. Or, that's 6 Zerglings dead. That's a lot of Zerglings. If Zerglings charge you and they don't kill a unit or a model in the unit, which is with their shields is actually fairly reasonably likely to not happen, then you get to shoot them. And you're making, let's say, pop. Yeah, if you shoot them and melee them, because you shoot them, you make 12 shots, you'll hit.
You have the anti-evade
9. You'll hit 9-ish. If you've got your Wraith down, you'll hit 10. You've got anti-evade potentially 2, probably 2. I like guidance on this unit a lot. And they've got a D3 plus 1 surge. Like, you're just going to kill 8 Zerglings with that ish about, and then you'll kill another 6 to 8 in combat. Like, that's a lot of Zerglings for this unit to kill randomly.
I would say as far as weaknesses the unit has, they aren't that tough. They're not hyper squishy. They are still Protoss. Protoss are always going to feel a little bit tough for what they are, but they're not exceptionally tough. They do not do particularly well into armored targets. No. Because one of the things you can do to kind of get around armored targets, even if you don't have an armor surge, is to have a very high rate of fire, like a very high conversion rate on your attacks, and just force a lot of saves.
The Rainer's Raiders.
Yeah, like Rainer's Raiders do exactly that. Whereas these guys, like, they fire very few attacks that are pretty consistent. Which means that they just don't really put through like the throughput you would need to deal with them.
Yeah, I mean, they'll chip damage a Goliath, okay? They'll chip damage a Queen, okay? They're not going to do anything to Roaches and Marauders, though.
Yeah, anything with like that 3-up save, you're just truly struggling. So they're going to really, really struggle in those fights. But if you're trying, the thing is that they get to pick their engagements so well. Like you just can't. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to get them stuck fighting my Marauders. Like, it's just not going to happen. They're just going to leave.
They're just... thing that I find about this unit fairly consistently is that I'm just not attacking with them a lot of turns.
Yeah, there's plenty of turns that they're like, I'm going to hide behind this and shade over here. And
Yeah, or I'm going to walk on this objective, do this action, score a point, and then shade over here and score more points.
This is at its core a scenario game, and this is the most scenario unit in the game. You know, aside from like maybe Raynor. Like, sure, yeah, he's kind of a scenario monster, but yeah. Anyway, it's probably a little too long to talk about one unit, but the Adept is kind of worth it. It's
yeah. We've barely touched on the things you can do with the Shade. There are a million things you can do with this ability. It is my favorite ability I've ever played with ever in anything. It is so fun.
The next one on the list is the Sentry. Sentry is also awesome. This is a true utility piece through and through. They also have 2 shields. They have a 4/7 speed, which is fine. 6 of evade, which is terrible and actually is kind of relevant on. If they had a good evade, that would make a big difference on them. But because they can get it a lot of the time. But I think that's why their evade is so bad. But 5 up armor, 4 hit points. You get 2 models for 1 supply at 130 points. They're quite cheap, to be honest. They're quite cheap. They just don't do a lot of damage. That's really the main thing.
Like that's the thing is they just don't kill things.
They don't kill anything, basically at all. But they have a lot of abilities. This is a true spellcaster utility unit. They've got Restoration. This is a 1 energy ability. You can just pick a friendly unit that has a debuff on it within 4 of them and just remove all debuffs. This is an ability that I think will get a lot stronger later. I think right now there's like 1 debuff in the game.
What even is it?
It's on medics. It's optical flare. Yeah.
Isn't there also Marauders have that reaction?
I don't know if that's like a debuff that you could remove.
Oh, and it's also you can't do that anyway because this is an active.
Yeah,
thing. You do it. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like it wouldn't really apply to that. It's literally just like a debuff the enemy has put on your thing. Once we have units like if the Science Vessel ever makes it onto the table, the Ghost, depending on how they do that. Zerg do a lot of debuffs, a lot of random stuff like that. I don't think Protoss do very many typically, but
I expect we'll see a lot more of this in the Spellcaster wave, which is coming in August.
Yes, yeah. I'm trying to think. So the Spellcaster wave was High Templar, Ravens, and was it Infestor? No, is the Defiler. The Defiler will have debuffs. Yeah, but the Raven and High Templar will not.
Speaking of the medic, I did have a fun situation in the demo game I played where I got to put the medic debuff on a queen, and she was like, "Oh, I'm range 2 now."
You're like, "Oh no!"
Oh, I really hate life because she'd come up to shoot the medics, and the medics were like, "What if instead you couldn't do anything?" And she was like, "Oh."
Yeah. So truly, the marquee ability of the Sentry is Force Field. This is a 1 energy ability. You place a Force Field token within 8. It's within, not wholly within, as well. So you can put these go out pretty far, actually. Now, I find the wording on it's a little strange, but I won't go too much into the details of that. But it's units of size 2 or lower cannot move across force fields. Models of size 3 or more can move over it, and it's removed. This is basically just make a circle of terrain. You just go plonk, and it's there now.
It's an 80 millimeter base, so it's very big. That within thing is a load bearing word there or phrase, because if it was wholly within 8 inches, that means that your area of influence is
considerably shorter.
Roughly it's like 140 square inches of table. But because it's within and not wholly within, what you end up with is more like, I don't know, like close to 400, like close to 350 square inches of manipulation space. So it's more than double. And you can also give them an upgrade that gives you a second one.
Yeah. Yep, allows you to place a second one, which makes, again, this unit immensely expensive energy-wise, but the effects are pretty... Probably the best uses I've gotten out of this one is opponents placing... Basically, you can really punish people for taking very defensive positions with this, where if they're kind of like, I'm set up here behind this terrain, and you go, and you're never leaving. You get to live behind that terrain now.
The other thing that it's really excellent for is cutting off combat spots for opposing units. Yeah. I have turned an 18 Zerg unit getting into my thing into that unit making like 5 attacks. Yeah, you can take up table space that units want to have to be able to just get into you. So you can create choke points and stuff with that. Block movement. A lot of stuff like that. Obviously the big weakness here is if they do have a move 3 thing right now, like if somebody's playing like Goliath heavy, they can often just kind of trunk through it, but it still forces the Goliath to go there. You know what I mean?
If Guardian Shield is another, so this one I always kind of struggle to use because you have to, just because Protoss have like no points to spend, and this is so proactive. But you spend on energy. Any unit's ranged attack targeting a friendly unit within 4 inches is made with 1 fewer die in total. Sometimes that's pretty effective. I find this one a little hard to use. 1 fewer die in the total like batch pool is like, on some things it's a big deal.
It would be. I would have liked to see this ability, and this is just me, like, I'm super biased here, but I would have liked this to be 1 fewer die per enemy model in the unit.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, because as it is, it's or like per like batch they fire or something. I don't know, like it, because it's weird because it's like we should hit all the Goliath's weapons, but it's definitely kind of a weird ability. But it's I think that their other anti-ranged ability is just way better. That you can buy as an upgrade. Their gun is truly nothing. It's a range 8. It does target all, but it's 2 shots, hits on 2s. Like the hitting on 2s is randomly kind of cute. Like it will hit twice. It will force 2 armor saves. And it does have instant. It has instant, which is so if you need to plink 1 damage off like a marauder or a medic or something, you might be able to do it. Or a marine. You might be able to do it through like medics or whatever. Like cool. And then it has a melee attack that is about the same, to be honest. It's like 2 attacks, it's on 3s, does 1 damage.
Yep.
Yeah. This is not why you brought this unit.
They're cute.
They're adorable. Sentries are great. And then, so like we said, they have a 20-point upgrade. You can spend another energy to put a second force field down. It's basically just the exact same rule as force field, but with a different name. Now this ability, honestly, if that upgrade changed in the final release, it wouldn't surprise me, just because in the beta this rule changed like 19 times. So, and it always kind of did the same thing. It was always put 2 force fields down, but the way that it worked was like changed. Really
I would love it if it was you just get to put a second force field down if you put a force field down at all, and it just was free. That would be so nice.
They had it for a little bit where it was you could spend 1 or 2 and you got 1 force field per energy you spent, like weird stuff like that. They played around with it. Anyway, the last ability, which I actually really like, is hallucination. There's a reaction for 1 energy, it costs 30 points. When an enemy declares a ranged action against a friendly unit within 4, you give them evade rolls.
That's real good.
It's really good. It's just that little bit of like, there's not really anything except for maybe Artanis, who kind of has his own way to end up with evades, but that has a particularly good evade right now. In Protoss, it's all like 5-ups. But it's like when you're already kind of tough, which Protoss stuff usually is, just kind of taking that extra.
And you can spike.
Yeah, so that's those guys. The next one on the list, so I'm skipping a couple kind of alphabetically here, just because I want to talk about Artanis and his stuff last, because it's going to kind of lead us into the tactics.
That makes sense.
So we're going to talk about the Stalker real quick. The Stalker is an interesting one. So it also has 2 shields. It has a move speed of 4 or 8. Single Stalkers really zoom. I actually quite like single Stalkers.
I do too. They feel really good.
I kind of prefer them over but they have a 6-up evade, unfortunately, but they have a 4-up armor, which is pretty nice, which feels pretty good. They actually they're reasonably tough. They have 7 hit points with 4-up armor. They're reasonably beefy. You can take one of them for 150 points or 2 for 270. So they have Squadron, which gives them a 4-inch horizontal coherency. This is just so they function.
Yep, because if they didn't, they're 80mm bases, which is more than 3 inches. So otherwise, it doesn't work.
It physically cannot place itself. Kind of one of the big defining units for Stalkers is their blink. It's a 1 energy, place 6.
It's very good.
You just it's 1 energy, you teleport 6, and you just can't be in engagement when you end the place, and when you start the place. Their weapon that you're bringing them for is their particle disruptors, which have a range of 12, which is awesome. The 12 feels very good.
More often than that.
Yeah, you can Twilight Council it up to 16.
I do that a lot.
This unit works pretty well as sort of a long-range sniper. Targets all, which is wonderful. They have 4 attacks each, which they're a very low model count unit, so they hit. They hit on 3s, and they surge armored for D3, and they do 2 damage. This is like your premier anti-armor option in Protoss right now. It's kind of all you have aside from Artanis. They've got a stomp, which is terrible, and if you're using it, I'm sorry. It's 2 attacks that hit on 5s and do 1 damage. Incredible. They have 2 upgrades. One I think is cool, the other is very weird. So you've Path of Shadows. This is a 20-point upgrade on a 1 model unit or a 40-point upgrade on a 2 model unit. Any phase, which is really the strong part of this, For 1 energy, unit gains hidden until it performs another action. This means it literally can sit cloaked forever if you just don't activate it. This is a really strong effect. What I've typically done with this, I haven't played with Stalkers a lot, I'll admit, but what I've typically done with this is trying to pass very early in movement in order to be able to shoot first with Stalkers and then stealth.
And then stealth yourself, yeah.
Or you can do things like stealth in the movement phase to just make sure your order of activations goes really nice in the assault phase. Yeah. That's an option available to you. Again, psionic energy it's pricey in Protoss, but it's a strong effect. It's very good.
It's very good.
Although I will say that if the opponent kind of knows you're going to do it, they can preempt it pretty hard with like Orbital Command or Observer or Overseer. So it's because most people take that tactics upgrade at the moment because they're all good across all 3 of them. This can struggle to get the most value.
Yeah. I found that it's better usually because this is a size 3 unit, so they have some sort of latitude with a lot of the terrain that we're looking at the moment as well. Being able to see over a lot of it is really nice. That it is better to just be like, hi, I can be range 16. That's better than being stealthy because almost nothing else.
Very little shoots that far. Yeah, it's like a couple of the Goliath weapons, and they're not good weapons. The ones that shoot that far.
Rainer's long
really
range
weak.
gun is range 18.
Yeah.
Marines can go to 18, but then they hit on 4s.
Yeah.
And Marines aren't hurting this thing too badly anyway because they don't have a surge for armored.
Definitely.
So, there's some stuff.
The other upgrade is weird. It's an effect that I like having in the army, but it's so finicky to actually get it to work. His Fury of the Narazims is 20-point upgrade on a single model, 30 on a 2 model. Just a passive effect. If they attack an enemy unit that has already activated, they gain instant on their gun. So they can, shut down stuff like healing from medics or like the reactive healing and plenty of other reactive effects. My problem with this one is mostly just because the enemy has to have already activated.
Yeah, they're entirely in control of it.
They have a lot of control over it. This was something where I really needed effects like this when I fought like a mass Marauder army, but you can't let them shoot first.
Yeah,
you're like, I have to shoot you first, and you can gain instant with a different card anyway. So you just kind of go like, I can't. I had this upgrade and I never used it at any point because it doesn't work with how the order of activations on this unit plays out. So I personally don't like this ability.
At the moment, it feels significantly too expensive. And now this is going to change. Everything we're saying here is going to change as more models are released and the meta is developed and all that stuff. But at the moment, I would like this to be like a 510 upgrade.
It needs to be like truly dirt cheap, right? It's like this is a filler upgrade to be like, I have a few points,
Yes, that's.
But exactly it's kind of costed like a real ability right now, which I just kind of don't.
Right, which it is not. No, not even a little bit.
I have only ever put this on them if I'm like literally finished my whole list build and I'm like, I have 60 points and I've taken every possible upgrade. So why? Overall, Stalkers are interesting. I've kind of struggled to get a whole lot of value out of them. I really like the single model units. I feel like the move 8 plus the place, they can get around really well. They're really cool scenario guys, but Adepts are kind of better at that. But Stalkers can apply themselves at a much longer range and have that anti-armor surge. So like they have a place, but yeah.
My prediction for this unit is we're going to use it for a while because it's what we got. And then Immortals are going to come out in June and we're going to stop using Stalkers at all. And then Flyers are going to come out in October and we're going to go back to using Stalkers.
Yeah.
Like some sort of split between them and Immortals.
Yeah, Stalkers kind of feel like they're almost meant to be more of like an anti-flying thing. Let's go to Zealots.
Yay!
Let's talk about Zealots. The Zealots, we have hit our first 3 shield unit. Pretty cool, because they also have 4 hit points. They're pretty beefy, actually.
Yeah, they are.
They have a 4/7 move, which is very standard, but that's only true initially. This unit is so fast. Yeah. They have a 5 evade, 5 up armor, very standard. It feels kind of wrong to me on some level, but from what I understand, they were tested at 4 armor, and it was.
I could see that. Yeah. I mean, I'd like them to be 4 armor, but yeah.
This is a unit taken in units of 3, and they are 2 supply, and they are 170 points. They bring
I'm
a lot
get on a soapbox for a second here because there's a lot of people that
that complain about the high supply on Zealot.
So I'm gonna explain why I think it's great from a gameplay perspective. I don't know if I don't care about the lore side of this at all. This is just like from a gameplay perspective. All right. So here's the thing about Zealots. I cannot think of a reason to deploy them on turn 1 ever.
Yeah,
just like
Zealots are a late game unit.
Yep.
Even from the first game I played, I was like, I didn't like them coming out early on.
Yep.
At all.
So what they do is they come on the table from a your deployment zone board edge because of one of the cards, from Warp Gate, I think is which one it is. And then they move 4, and then they move another 2, and then potentially get placed another 2. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3.
2.
And then they charge something. And then their supply 2, and that objective is probably yours.
Yep. Yeah,
that is the whole point.
Yeah, they get in, they do some damage. Protoss are pretty good at taking priority due to their just general low unit count. And so I'm going to charge in, I'm going to impact hit you, I'm going to hit you once, and hopefully your supply is now lower than
yep. Which it often is.
And then you're going to punch me back, and you're probably not going to kill enough to get my supply low because you have to drop, 11 wounds of Zealots before they drop a supply
11 wounds
point.
of Zealots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. Like that's a lot.
It's an entire squad of Marines, basically.
They've got some pretty cool upgrades. They've got an assault phase, or sorry, not upgrades, abilities. They've got the assault phase. They've got charge. This is just for 1 energy. You can roll 2d6 and drop the lowest for their charge.
Many times. It's very good.
Yeah, it is very good. There's a couple of versions of this ability that are stronger elsewhere that let you do it after the roll. So this one, the fact it's expensive. Protoss don't have a lot of energy available to them, and you have to preempt it. Doesn't always feel great, but sometimes you're like, this has to work. So
yeah, I was going to say, that said, Protoss also just don't have that many units, so they all have to do things.
They all have to do their thing
anyway.
And they've also got devastating charge. It's very just absolute standard ability on a lot of melee units. In their case, it's impact 3, 4 up, which is quite good. It's very good. It's so funny. Devastating charge has been one of the most interesting abilities for me to learn as we played the game, because I thought it was such a nothing ability when I first saw the rules. Like I was like, okay, whatever. Like everybody, they get this weird little tank shock effect or whatever. I was like, whatever. But it truly is like very important to how melee operates in this game, which is cool. Their only weapon is Side Blades. They're a melee unit. It only targets ground because there's only one thing in all of StarCraft that has a melee weapon that attacks air. And if you can tell me what it is, anyone on the internet, I'm curious. I know some people know, but yeah. It has 4 attacks, so they actually make quite a few attacks across this unit. It's a good attack volume that hits on 3s. They're quite consistent. They have a light surge for D3 for 1 damage. It's pretty like bog standard, but it's reasonably consistent. It's just like a consistent good number of dice that will do some
damage.
You are
also going to precision 2 this unit, and it's going to...
A lot of time, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're going to hit a lot of their attacks. They're going to D3 in. Like, their surge isn't like crazy. It's just a very standard D3 with 1 damage. So really, they're only slightly more effective into light than they are anything else.
Which is kind of one of their strengths. They're just pretty good at killing things because they hit a reasonably large number of attacks.
They will pretty much always put like a few points of damage into whatever you're swinging. And they've got some great upgrades. They've got the one that I just always take, My Life for Ire. This is just, it's 10 points, and you just get an extra die on your impacts. Just make some impact 4. That's 12 dice now. It turns into 6 hits on average instead of
4.5.
Brain just shut off 4.5.
5. Yeah.
This is you gotta kill
really
stuff.
Good.
So it's nice.
It's really, really good.
Well, and it feeds into that thing we were kind of saying about they come in late game, they peel a few wounds off things, and they try to get stuff's supply below theirs, and they're very good for that. Then they have one of the most cracked upgrades, leg enhancements. 20 points, 1 energy. They perform a 2-inch move action. With the way movement works in this game, 2 inches of movement is not 2 inches of movement. It is a huge movement jump. Yeah, it's about 5 inches.
Actually, it's more than that. It's like 8 because it's 3 inches. So you move your initial movement. You put something 3 inches out. So that's that 3 extra bonus inches of movement. Plus, then that model then moves 2 inches. So that's 2. Plus, then something else moves 3 past it. That's a total of 8 bonus inches of movement based off what it feels like. It is nuts. Yeah,
you suddenly go extremely quickly, and given that Protoss also have easy access to a place 2 effect, this means that this unit is like slow until it isn't. And then suddenly it is very fast. They are coming right at you. They have an upgrade called Zealous Round. I've never taken this one. It just seems incredibly difficult to get to.
It's really bad.
It's really bad. When they have not activated and receive damage, you can count them as activated to reduce the total damage by 2. So you like activate them. It's kind of strange. It's
really bad.
This feels like it was kind of written with the idea that they're more of like a get on the table early and like hold spots kind of a unit.
Sure.
And kind of like exist there, but it just like it doesn't. I don't think that they work that way. And I don't think that this works. It's just, you just want to be able to attack back. It's so much better than saving 2 damage. Like most of the time, it's just, I don't know.
Well, I also can't conceive of a moment where it's like, I shoot you and you're like, okay, this 2 damage is worth more than charge impacts plus getting into you.
Yeah, like if this was if this was a combat phase ability, it would maybe have a use.
No, I don't think it would.
I don't love it, but at the very least, that to me feels like it would at least be like, well, I can at least use this while kind of doing what they're trying to do. Sort of. I still don't think it's good. Assault phase, just like there's just nothing. Why would you do that to yourself?
I guess the only reason I can think of doing this, okay, and here is Fringe. They got into combat, they didn't kill what they were fighting, and then for some reason they're outsupplied, so they can't fall back. Then, since they don't have anything else to do at all in the assault phase, if they are not going to charge this turn, then it is okay. But like, you're falling back probably.
Yeah.
Or you killed the thing. Or you're going to place 2 and then move them after that. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't spend 10 points on something else. Like leg enhancements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last one is this is one I really want to be good, but I struggle to apply it. Is We Stand as One. It's a 20-point upgrade when making an attack roll if the target is engaged with at least one other friendly unit. This unit gains precision 2. This just doesn't play into kind of how Protoss play.
Yeah, this would be great in like Zerg.
Yeah, you don't have enough units. Zealots and like Artanis are your only melee units, so you don't really want to be in this situation most of the time. Your units really have to kind of work on their own for the most part, and have to be very consistent on their own. So this is an upgrade I took early on because I was like, this is gonna be sick, but like it just doesn't really play out. It's the main thing Zealots are good at is, you bring them onto the table late when a lot of tools are kind of forced to point in other directions. So they're not just eating the initial attacks that the game is kind of putting out. You want things already kind of stuck in. They're going to come in, they're going to like jump on places on the table and add 2 supply to a bunch of locations. Okay, I'm going to pull a slightly audible. We're going to talk about tactics cards next time.
Yeah, I think
this
so.
is running long. Yeah. But we're going to talk about Artanis and his stuff real quick.
Or we're not going to talk about Praetor Guard?
Yeah, oh, sure. I was going to kind of go like Artanis, Praetor Guard, Pylon, but...
Okay, sure. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, Artanis. Artanis is our hero boy. You get 1 of him for 250 points. He has 4 shields and 8 hit points. He's about as tough as a Goliath.
Yeah, he's real tanky.
Actually, he's tougher. I forgot the Goliath. The Goliath lost health. I forgot about that. So,
well, and he also, you can't surge into him. He's the toughest thing in the game.
Yeah, he's very, very tough.
Not close. He's
because everything else has worse saves than him, like Raynor
worse saves
and Carry.
Less health and can be surged into.
Yeah, he's a very tough guy. He's speed 7, very quick, but he also delivers himself like. So he has a 5-up evade, which is relevant on him. It's definitely a thing. So he has any phase commander. This is just the case across all 3 of our current existing heroes, is just that his supply characteristics is increased by 1 for purposes of controlling and contesting mission markers, completing objectives, and resolving. He's supply 1, but he counts as 2 for most purposes. It's basically just for deployment purposes he counts. He has the ability Phase Prism. This is in the movement phase, so when he deploys from reserves, he can be placed base-to-base contact with a friendly unengaged unit, and you immediately pick that friendly unit up off the battlefield, and then his activation.
It's so good.
It's really good. You can place stuff crazy aggressively and then pull it back off and he is now like the opponent's trying to get aggressive on your adepts or whatever. You're just like, oops, it's an Artanis now. All kinds of like this guy gets in the fight. He's very good at it. He will get there. In the assault phase, so he has Hierarch Stand. This is a 1 energy react. Another friendly unit within 8 is the target of a ranged attack. and needs to make a defense roll, you redirect those to Artanis, and he gains his evade. He basically just and it works until the end of the round. So he kind of just turns into like a gun lightning rod.
Yep.
And he is a lot tougher than anything he can be pulling. Nobody gets surges against him. He's got the best armor save this side of Stalkers. He's got a perfectly solid evade. He's a pretty good lightning rod for against guns. Protoss definitely don't love being shot, just because. I mean, nobody does.
Nobody likes being shot.
But he can really kind of soak those attacks for it. It's a cool ability, and it's got good range. The 8-inch range is huge.
Yeah.
Lightning dash.
I must admit, though, on this particular one, that I've never used it because Artanis is almost always by himself in the backlines, killing medics or killing.
This guy is like the support murdering monster. Yeah. So. All right, lightning dash. 1 energy reaction, so it's immediately after he charges. He can immediately charge again, but he can't do devastating charge a second time.
Boo! He should get to do a second.
I feel like he should too, and for just completion's sake, there, his devastating charge is 6 dice hitting on force.
Yep.
Which is great. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But this ability, what this does is it means you just can't screen him like at all. Like, it's so difficult. He's gonna get into your medics. He's gonna get into your backline stuff a lot of the time, unless you can really gum up the works. So that's the thing. Like, this guy is like the medic murderer. He just gets into him and will ruin their day. And he does pretty well into stuff like Queen, like you mentioned. Any of those kind of support units. He has 2 different melee attacks. He has no gun, unfortunately. I feel like he should have some kind of psionic ranged weapon. Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, with the way he works, though, there's a reason Kerrigan has both. It's kind of hard to apply, because if you're doing that instead of charging, it's like, meh. He's got basically a strike profile, which is it targets ground, 2 attacks, hits on 2s, surge against armored, D3, and it does 3 damage. 9 times out of 10 into an armored target, this just does 6 damage.
Yep.
It's just 6 damage you do. It's not a bad idea to like maybe give him a point of precision with something, just to like up that consistency a tiny bit, but it will pretty much do 6 damage to any armored target you. And then his sweep version, which is 6 attacks, hit on 2s, they surge against light, D3 plus 1 damage. Pretty similar mathematically.
Yep.
I think it ends up slightly less than the just almost auto 6 into armored. But he's just good into whatever, and he doesn't have any keywords, so nothing gets any bonuses against him. He's just very consistent. He's not going to totally slaughter stuff in one go.
No.
But he will get into a fight and take a couple of models off of you, and you will probably not hurt him very much back.
Yeah, and he can usually take that objective because he counts as 2 supply for objective taking.
Yeah,
purposes.
All he has to do is get you down to like 1 supply or whatever, and he's just chilling. So Artanis is pretty cool. He's pretty simple. He is really just like a charge beat up stuff guy who just also kind of has this utility option in the form of being able to soak ranged attacks for you. But he's very good for his points. He feels very worth it. Very beefy.
Mm-hmm.
I had him lose a fight with Raynor, but that was just because he had medics.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I've never had him lose a fight to anything yet. He's just sort of like
he will like almost kill Raynor and then slowly lose that fight because he can't outpace medics. It's like
you really have to like.
Yeah,
that's the thing about that particular matchup is it's really tempting to go after Raynor with him, but you have to go after the medics, and then you can go after Raynor.
Definitely. And then we've got Praetor Guard. So Praetor Guard you can only take if you're taking Artanis and his tactic card. They are his unique Zealot, like hyper elite Zealot. They have 3 shields, which is less than Zealots, but they're tougher by nature of some other things they've got. Otherwise the exact same stat line as Zealots, where they got a 4/7 speed, 5 up evade, 5 up armor, 4 hit points. They're 280 points, which is notably, it's 110 more points than Zealot's baseline.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But you get a lot of stuff. You get a lot of the Zealot upgrades built in.
Yes.
And some other things. So a big thing is shield overcharge. They just have tough 2 in the first armor roll they take each round. Each round they sort of just you can almost think of it as they just have like 2 extra HP every round. That just kind of you just have to get through. So that's kind of where they actually become quite a bit tougher. Even just getting through those first 3 shields can be really annoying. They end up feeling very tough. They have leg enhancements built in, They can do that 2-inch teleport the Zealots do. I mean, this unit functions like a Zealot unit as far as their ability to just get around the table, and they can do that. They can perform that same role that base Zealots do, where they come in a little bit late. They have the same charge ability where they can roll 2d6. They have the exact same impact hits. Unfortunately, they cannot take an upgrade to get those up, so theirs are always just dice each on.
Womp womp.
A little unfortunate. In the combat phase, you don't want to be in that situation with them. Mostly just because getting out of it is really hard. They are really hard to disengage from, and they're really hard to kill. Because they are 2 supply. So they have precognition. They can make evade rolls against all attacks targeting them in the combat phase. So in melee, they just have a 5 evade all the time. That's just very strong. It's just a lot of... You think about that, and think about if they didn't get attacked by anything else, they have evade rolls and tough 2 when you try to fight them. And you're just like, oh god, I hate my life. It's a pain. And then really the big thing that makes them very unique is that when they make close combat attacks, if the target is size 3 or higher, their damage characteristic bumps up to 2.
Which is a lot.
Yeah. Most things that are that size are going to be armored, which they don't have a surge against. Their attacks are actually just straight up Zealot attacks. But that 2 damage, just into just dealing with base saves, it goes such a long way. You'd almost think it doubles their damage output. Almost. I've seen this unit do all kinds of crazy stuff. One thing that's very important to note is that the Pylon and the Omega Worm are size 3.
My very first game, they charged an Omega Worm in the first assault phase and killed it.
Yep. Yeah, they will kill Queens really hard. They won't... I don't believe they'll kill Goliaths outright on average, but they will do a lot of damage to one.
Goliath save on 4s?
Save on 4, yeah.
So 12, you'll hit 8, precision 10... Save on 4s, take 5. Oh, they will actually. If you've got.
I think I was thinking about when they had 12 still. So like barely, and if they don't have anything else, a lot of time Goliaths have like tough 1 act and stuff. But just purely off that, you with no outside help, they will not quite kill Goliath.
That's fair.
But they'll do a lot of damage to 1. Unfortunately, they'll probably eat it pretty bad in response because Goliaths have a lot of attacks. But they'll take some damage for sure. But honestly, that's probably like a fully upgraded Goliath against a unit of Praetors. The Praetors will hold up pretty well. They'll do a ton of damage to it, and they'll probably be able to finish it off before they quite all die. And that's not even, and like given that it makes it so that this unit is remarkably flexible. They're anti-light and anti-big.
So they just don't like roaches, and they don't like marauders.
Yeah, they don't like armored size 2 and smallers. This unit does feel like a very solid upgrade over Zealots. I've found if you're playing Artanis, like a unit of these feels very worth it. I think if you could take multiple, I'm not sure that you would.
I don't think so.
They're still kind of expensive, but they're a solid one of pretty good unit. And the last thing is the Pylon. This is kind of barely a unit, but it is technically, it's more has to do with the tactics card, but we'll talk about that next time. The Pylon has 2 shields and 8 hit points and a 5 up armor save. It's not exceptionally tough, but it's not like bad.
It should be hiding most of the time anyway.
It should be hiding most of the time, but it does take a bit of a concerted effort to drop.
Yep.
Unless you have something very specialized like Praetor Guard, which will just straight up kill it. It has the structure rule. This is one I probably won't go too much into here, but basically it's just like it's not a unit. It's just kind of what this is. It's kind of a building that you're able to place. It just doesn't do, there's a lot of stuff it doesn't do. But once per round, when you use an ability that uses psionic energy within 4 of it, you reduce that cost by 1. This feels so good in Protoss. Yep. Like you need it so bad. The amount of times I have deployed sentries out of this thing and just put a force field down for free is so nice. You're like, yeah, you're like, this feels pretty good. This is
playing with Academy feels like.
Yeah, this is like the only bit of psionic energy like tech Protoss has, and it's limited to when you use Protoss or Artanis.
Yep.
And then the big thing that the Pylon does, the really strong effect about it, is that once per round, when you deploy a ground unit from your reserves within 4 inches of it, you can drop and deploy your unit within 4 inches of it. This has like no restrictions. You can drop into combat. You can wherever you want to be, as long as it's within 4, and it's within 4. It's got a good range to it. So this is your every round free deployment trick. Very similar. Zerg get a very similar thing with the Omega Worm. It works a little differently, but So this is a big part of Protoss's ability to, as I said in the last cast, kind of just take the deployment lines as a suggestion more than a real rule.
As it should be.
Yeah, you can truly deploy very little of your army using your actual table edge. So the Pylon's awesome. My first couple of games, I kind of felt like I wasn't sure how you play without it, but having played a little bit more, like, it works. You know, you can work around it, use warp gate, stuff like that, to be able to deploy in other ways. But this is a really, really strong tool you have available. That one kind of blurs the line between unit and tactic card, to be honest. But like I said, we'll probably talk about that. We're running long, Jaden. We never run long.
Never.
Ever. We've never run long in our lives.
We've never done a 4-hour podcast before. Not once.
It's definitely never happened. All right. That's a fun little chat about the Protoss units. Next time we can talk about the tactics cards.
Yes.
And it'll be awesome. I'm sure we can spend plenty of those too. Because there's...
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Protoss are pretty awesome.
They're not cheaper.
Yeah, and maybe Ben will be available to talk. That's basically it. Protoss are very cool. I like the way that they're implemented a lot. Jaden's obviously very enamored with them. And
yes.
Yeah, big fan of kind of how they've come together. But I think that's going to basically do it for this week. We'll talk about tactics cards for Protoss next week. It'll be great. Thanks so much for hanging out for a little. Bye.
Bye.